for the Empowering You show. This is a lively television show that is a driving force to positive transformation in every viewer's life. Our goal is simple. It is to elevate our audience members with clear, practical, helpful advice and engaging activities. We're here dedicated to sparking a journey of self-growth and empowerment, making sure each episode is a step toward professional and personal achievement. That's how we empower you on the Empowering You show. So get ready, it's time. It is time. It is Thursday again. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Empowering You show, where we showcase small business owners, leaders, and those who are doing great things in the community. Today's no different. We're going to showcase some of the things we've learned. But before I do that, let me bring up the co-host with the most, the sensational, sexy, sassy, spicy, and very smart, Shani Smith.
That is a lot. Thank you. Thank you. You are so good for the confidence. So good. So good. In case I forget, I know you'll be there to remind me. And it's so important to have people like that in your corner. I'm just saying.
Right.
I'm happy to be here, though.
I'm so glad. You look amazing. Your jewelry is popping. Yeah, the red.
No, it looks a lot like yours. If I get a little, I believe so.
It's the same designer. We're going to shout out Juanita McWhite today on our Empowering You show, a leader in her industry because she is an original jewelry maker. She makes
so light
jewelry out of aluminum and beads. Sometimes all aluminum, like Shani's necklace, and sometimes with a stone, like Shani's necklace, and sometimes without. And I just adore her. And when I need something different, because you won't see it going anywhere, coming and going, you have the original piece. That's what's so special about her jewelry. But anyway, thank you so much, Juanita, for dressing us today. Shani didn't know I was wearing, and I didn't know she was wearing your jewelry. So we decided to showcase you for a moment. Thank you so much. Listen, I have been traveling around these conferences and doing facilitations and meeting people everywhere, Shani, and getting some good information and contacts.
And what are you doing with those contacts?
Now that's the question. What I used to do with them is stack them in a drawer. I was going to show you my stack. Two-fisted with a rubber band. How many of you out there have that same situation? You go to these conferences, these events, these trade shows, and you are so excited and so enthused to meet so many new people, and you exchange business cards. Anybody in the room? Show of hands.
Guilty.
I see you back there. I see you. So what's the point? What's the purpose of having all those business cards if you never reach out and touch? If you never reach out and touch someone with what you just learned.
Right. And because sometimes you'll have these great conversations where you guys both agree, we definitely will connect. We will definitely connect. And then unless and until you happen to run into them again, you never see them again in your life.
And that's so sad, because something happened this week that reminded me that I was not taking my own advice. My advice comes from one of my coaches that says the fortune is in the follow-up. The fortune is in the follow-through. The fortune is when you make a note to call this person and you actually take action. Right. Taking action sometimes is the hard part. Because we go back
why is it so hard? Is it scary? Are we like out of our comfort zone? Like, why do you think it's so hard?
No, I think it's hard. I think it's hard because we go back into our own world, into our own cocoon, into our own cadence, into our own rhythm. And that person or that event becomes back burner, backstage, back of the mind, right? Like those clothes that I say I'm going to get into one day back in the closet. They back there. but you never pull them forward.
Right.
And so I have another coach that says you follow up until they either do two things: they buy or they die. And so
Wait,
that's
to be clear though, when they say die, he means
like pass
they
away.
unsubscribe.
No,
not not actually.
no, they unsubscribe from life. That's what they are. They're no longer breathing. That's how long you can follow up with them. And that's difficult because I looked in my contact list the other day and I have literally thousands of people in my phone. Literally. And so it is just difficult to remember to do it unless you have a strategy. So
Right.
let's talk about the strategy. Unless you have a strategy. Shani, do you have a strategy?
Actually, I do. I try to queue up an email about it was nice meeting you, blah, 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 before I even go to the event, right? So that way I can take
Oh,
away any excuses about I don't have time to make the email. So I make the email up, right? And then I'm just going to fill in the name and then add some other details to either remind me about who they were, what we talked about, or, just kind of personalize it a little bit. But if the email's already ready to go, when I get
wow.
that card or, scan it, it needs to go out. But I try not to be too aggressive and send it like during the time of the event, right? Try to make it a few hours later. But if I'll try to make a conscious effort to do it the same day.
Well, that's really huge. I never thought of that. However, doing it that way makes you keep them top of mind. It makes you keep them top of mind.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do a different strategy, but I was thinking right then, I like that strategy. The only thing I would add to it is, what if you get distracted when you get home? Like, when do you do it? Do you do it in the car on the way home? Are you doing it on your phone? Are you doing it on your laptop or your iPad, your tablet? Where are you doing it? When you say you do it on your YouTube, your email.
I set the email up on my desktop, but usually I send it from my phone. And believe it or not, because of all the things I have going on in life, I'm most productive when I'm sitting in the driveway.
What?
So, that moment, like some people just get out of the car and go in the house. Like I don't, because I know there's a whole another set of tasks waiting for me on the other side. So sometimes, and some people like the bathroom. That's not my thing. I'm in and out of there. But in the driveway, I'm like, all right, let's hit it. Let's go.
Well, let's talk about that part, because in the driveway is not where I do things, but that works for you, because what many people don't know listening to the broadcast is that you're not only a wife, you are a mother of a 12-year-old.
12-year-old, yes.
A mother of a wife, a mother of a tween, a full-time employee, a full-time and part-time employer, caregiver partially for your dad.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot. There's a lot.
And a house manager for another house.
There's a lot going on there.
There's definitely a lot going on.
And so doing it when you do it in the driveway works for you. Mm-hmm. And that's key. I can't give you my strategy if it's not going to work for you. That's not going to work for me. Shani's strategy is not going to work for me in the driveway. Mm-hmm. In the bathroom doesn't work for me either. Just saying, I know it's too much information, but that's just saying.
Yeah, I'm out of there.
What works for me is at the event. When I'm at the event, especially when people have business cards, I do two things. I sometimes carry a business card, not always, but I have an electronic business card called Hi Hello. It's FREE. Hi Hello will capture your scan. You have a scan code on that application, and then you offer the phone, the person who you want to extract your information. You offer them to scan your code. Now, what I've discovered is there are some people who don't know how to scan the code or they can't capture it. No worries, no problem. There's a button, a tab on Hi Hello on your phone that you can just press the button and then ask them for their email address. What does that do? Two things. They now have your contact information, and now you have their contact information because they gave you their email. You fill in their name and their email and shoot them your contact information. What used to happen to me is I would collect all these people's cards and they would collect my card and they would never call me. Or I'd pass out all these cards and never collect their cards. Or they'd say, I don't have a card. Now, I don't know if they were lying or not. Just
think.
just thought about that.
Wait a minute.
But what happens is you have to always get their information when you plan to follow up.
Right.
So in addition, when they would give me their card, I would make a note on the card, talked about blank. Now, it doesn't work real well when they have those shiny, what do you call them? Not the matte cards, the glossy.
The glossy
cards are hard to write on. But I would stick a pin through the corner of it to let me know you need to follow up with this person. You got to follow up.
Okay, I like that. I do have Hi Hello too, so I definitely need to start using it. But what I like about it is that if they have an account, their picture is on there, because I'm not always the best with names, but I usually can remember
faces,
their face. I'm like, I know you from somewhere. You look familiar to me.
Mm-hmm.
I know your spirit. Got it. So, and then another thing is not to just discredit what the relationship could be. Perhaps they could never really be your customer, but you don't know who they're connected to. Right. And it's really important for us to start branching out and getting connected to more people.
Right. Now you have their information and they have your information. What's your next step? You want to reach out to somebody and you reach out. Do you want to say, hi, I met you at the Women in Defense, Greater Hampton Roads, and that's it?
No, I'm excited about how we can work together in the future.
Collaboration is key. Yeah. But not only that, you want to try to remember something about the person, what they were wearing, the conversation you had, what you enjoyed about the conference, what you want to ask their opinion about what they thought about the same venue you were in. It's a conversation starter because here's what I know. Business is done through relationships. Mm-hmm. It took me a long time to figure that one out.
No, it didn't.
Business is done through relationships.
I'm not going to believe that one.
Business is done through relationships. And so until and unless you have a relationship with someone, you can't just ask them to buy necessarily with the confidence that you have something of value. You have to first understand prescribing what they might need. You don't go to the doctor, walk in the door, and he says, okay, I'm going to prescribe you some Valium right now. You don't even know what's wrong with me. You don't even know my pain point. You don't know anything about me. So why would I take a prescription from you when I don't know you? You don't know me. It's the same in business.
Right.
You have to get to know your client and your customer. Or you're
so stylish. You're so stylish that you always have something that stands out. What if you're just a laid back personality and you just kind of like always blend in, or you tend to want to blend in? What would you say to someone who wants to make sure that they're seen and heard?
Oh, that's a great question. Everybody has a gift. Whether it's your conversation, whether it's something you talked about, whether it's their smile, whether it's their eyes, whether it's how they spoke up or didn't speak up. Noticed you were quiet. Ooh. What were you thinking? I was wondering what you would think. I could see the wheels turning. And I was wondering, what might you be thinking about? Mm-hmm. And is there something that I could help with that you were struggling with?
That's good. That's real good right there. I noticed you were quiet and your wheels were
I,
turning.
there you
Oh,
go.
I love that. Stealing.
That's what this is for. That's what this is for. So we're talking about how to engage with a person who may not say a whole lot. I noticed you shrugged. It costs us to pay attention,
Mhm.
not just paying attention with our ears, but paying attention with our eyes, because nonverbal clues are more than verbal clues in communication. Let me say it again without stuttering. Nonverbal clues make up more than 80% of our communication when engaging with a person. So if you're watching, if you're paying attention, if you're not just there, just taking up space and time, if you're watching people, I'm a people watcher, maybe that's part of the issue. When you're watching people and their demeanor, sometimes you can see them doing this, which means they're not open and they're not welcoming. Sometimes you can see them doing this. Sometimes you can see them doing this. So if you're watching, you can gain clues about the conversation, the dissertation, the presentation, and you can piggyback on that when you connect with them. Hey, I noticed that you looked a little bit confused when they said this.
XYZ.
What were you
That's what
thinking?
that's what makes you, that's your superpower. That's what makes you such a great coach. I mean, just to kind of pivot a tad bit, when you're presenting, when you're doing leadership coaching to big corporations as you do, and you're reading the room, do you make a decision to, kind of shift based on, X percentage of people who seem disengaged, or, how do you know when to make that switch and keep people engaged and really lead them in a direction that you want them to go?
That's an excellent question. And you are right. It's not sometimes. I can tell by I read eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I read, the eyes don't lie. I read what people are thinking about the information that just got handed to them. And so as I'm reading the room, as you said, and I do that a lot, I don't even realize I do it, because just a sidebar, even when other people are presenting, I'm listening with my ears, but I'm watching, reading the room. And when I read the room, when I'm presenting and I'm reading the room, if the temperature, when I say temperature, I'm not talking about the physical cold, I'm talking about how they're receiving the information. If I am not reaching the majority, I'll pause for a second. I go, let me come another way. I don't tell them that I see what's going on in the room. I just
Right,
go,
right.
let me explain it a different way. When I say let me explain it a different way, you should see the looks like, oh, did she just
She knew we didn't get it.
know I
Right,
didn't get that?
right, right.
And so then I proceed with the same information in a different delivery, a different way. It's either slower, more quiet, or it's more engaging. Okay, so what did you think about this that I said? How did you hear this that I said? And I look for those that lean in. The ones that lean in are the ones who I can call on or ask questions. You brought up a
Right.
very good point. How do I read the room? One of the things I do as a speaker, trainer, and coach, before the event starts, I am always early, like early enough to start helping registration bring people in. So they get the first look at me, even if they don't know that I'm the speaker. They see me in the front doing something to be helpful. And or I go around and meet the people one-on-one. So what did you why are you here? What's interesting to you about coming to this event? And I'm either taking copious notes, written notes, or I'm taking mental notes.
Mm-hmm.
And I bring that conversation up without saying who it was I was speaking to during my presentation. That's how I engage people
Wow.
when I speak. When I said we, me, myself, and I, the three of us, we go in there together. So I'm just saying.
But that's how good you are, though, because many people wouldn't be able to pivot to add something else in. Like, I've already memorized what I'm going to say, what I'm going to say, and that's it. And it's not going to be a when they say this, I'm going to say this. None of that, you know. So you're able to pivot like on a dime, you know,
Well,
and really connect with the people, and that is what it is that draws people in
wow.
to your voice.
Well, thank you for that. I also have another strategy that I use. I don't know if it's a strategy or not. Truthfully, let's be clear. I'm not able to memorize it and then regurgitate it from memory.
Mhm.
I have to have 3 points that I want to make in my head. And the rest of it is all downloaded from the God, because I have tried that so many times. Memorize. This is what I'm gonna say. This is what I'm gonna say. This is how I'm gonna say it. This is the cadence. This is the timing. This is and make sure it's right on time. And
Mhm.
when I get up and open my mouth, that's not what comes out. And I learned that for me, it's majorly a waste of time. Just as long as I've got the 3 points, as long as I got a nailed it beginning and a nailed it closing, the rest I let God handle that. I don't worry about that part.
Hmm. Well, Faith is definitely it should be your middle name actually, but you have that. I got it. Okay, I'm reading the room. I grab a few people's interests, but not enough. Then what?
It's time for activity.
Okay.
It's time to get people up and moving. Because what I learned about people is they're in their silos. They're going to stay in their bubble, and they're very uncomfortable getting outside of that in a group that they don't know. And
Gotcha.
so I say, we don't really know each other in the room. Here's what I want you to do. Everybody stand up. One thing I learned from Dr. Reuben West, and I keep spouting his name because he has taught me so much, is I am the conductor. When you are the speaker, you are the conductor. You are the choir master. They will do what you ask them to do once they gain confidence that you know what you know. So we're into the conversation, maybe 10 minutes. And if I notice the room is still rigid, cold, nobody's moving, talking, nobody's laughing, nobody's whatever, I say, you know what I know? You know what I want us to do right now? Let's stand up. Let's everybody stand up. Especially if it's like after lunch or I'm the last speaker or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I'm typically asked to be last. I think the last shall be first and the first shall be last. But however, I'm asked to be last a lot. So when we get to the end of a program, people are tired of sitting. People are tired of listening to people drone on.
Mm-hmm.
And so I typically get them up. Not always, but typically I get them up. And then I said, now, what I want you to do, you came with someone. I don't want you to go to that person. I want you to go take a piece of paper and a pen, go to the next person that you don't know, have never seen before, and ask them their name, where they're from, and what's their favorite color. Those are my favorite 3 questions. Because
Okay.
everybody has that, they can give that to you I was gonna say in a New York second, but everybody doesn't know how fast that is. But anyway, so
Right.
so I get them up. One time I got them up doing the hokey pokey dance. That was kind of like crazy. I went out on a limb.
Yeah, because I mean, if you're talking to like Gen Zers, they don't even know what the hokey pokey is.
Well, they followed along. They followed. The good thing about the hokey pokey is it gives you instructions. You put your right foot in, you put your right foot out. Anyways, we did that, and what a hilarious thing. I remember I went to an event, and you could look around. I looked around the room. You could look around the room and see the boredom on everybody's face. I got thrown in as an extra speaker at kind of like the last minute. And so it was after lunch. We had listened to people drone on and on all morning. We ate, and then we're sitting there, and people's face was like, so uh, the moderator said, and we're going to have Barbara Smith after lunch. I said, okay, this is never going to work. I went over to the DJ and I said, DJ, do you have the Cupid Shuffle? And he says, yes, ma'am, I do. I said, when I say DJ, drop that beat, I want you to play the Cupid Shuffle because I'm going to have everybody in the room dancing. And he looked at me like, okay, let me know how that works out for you. So I get up, and I said, I want to thank this person for inviting me. I want to thank the organization, the venue. I thanked everybody. I said, and I want you guys to put your hands together for yourselves for sitting here this long and going through this program. Mm-hmm. Now what I want you to do is thank all the people that helped in the background that no one ever sees. Matter of fact, I want you all to come forward. So everybody that was on the committee came up. And I said, now I want you to give them a rousing round of applause. As a matter of fact, I want you to stand to your feet and give them a standing ovation. And they did. So now I got you. Right. So I told them they could go back to their seats. I said, no. Can't sit down yet. DJ, drop that beat. And everybody was already standing. And they were like, oh my gosh. So many people that didn't know how to do the shuffle were trying to do the shuffle. The whole room went into an uproar. The energy went through the roof. And when we got done that 4-minute shuffle experience, I said, now you can take your seats. Everybody was ready. Everybody was ready to hear me now. Had nothing to do, we call that a brain jolt. Had nothing to do with my talk.
That would have been more than a brain jolt for me because my coordination is, listen, I could do ballet. That's it, right? So I'd have been like, you got to be kidding me. How about that? I got to go to the bathroom.
Even the ones that didn't do it, they were standing there just, bobbing to the music. Now tell me you can't bob to the music, Shani.
I can bob to the music.
Okay. All right.
Don't come for me. It's not nice. It's not nice.
Mark's
Please don't let me get Queen Agnes in on this. It's not nice.
Mark's in the background said he learned a basic trick from me, that he talked to people as he started the talk and added it to the presentation. He said he got that from me. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. Yeah, you got to engage with people so they can get engaged with you. And that goes right along with getting to know them when you get their business card. It starts right then.
I mean, people love to hear their name. They'd love to know that you remember something about them, whether it's like, oh, I love you get the cutest glasses, or, beautiful green shirt with aluminum jewelry on, whatever, something, how are your kids doing? How'd you make out with the, did your kids win the game?
Right.
Things like people love to
anything.
Know that, oh, you remember? Oh, okay.
Yeah. It creates a connection, and that's what it's all about. It's creating connections that last. Mm-hmm. I just met some wonderful ladies who are business owners. Going to shout out Catherine Graham and Maria Herbert. And I'm meeting with them in June from the Women in Defense of Greater Hampton Roads. Had I not gone to that event, these women are powerhouses doing government contracts, looking for subcontractors. Right. And they saw me on the platform doing facilitation, and they said, we got to get together. I said, so let's make it happen, because if it's not on my calendar, it's not really happening.
Right.
And so I suspect, as busy as these ladies are, the same holds true for them. If it's not on their calendar, I said, okay, so the three of us are having this roundtable conversation over text messages. And we finally came up with a date, and now we're doing it. It's on the calendar. It's scheduled. The only thing that can stop it is God. And, that's it. We're on. And I can't wait, because they're building a relationship. They're looking for subcontractors to work with them, and they're having a difficult time finding them. If you're out there and you are a subcontractor, get in touch with Barbara H. Smith at BHS and Associates, and we will get you connected with the right people. Wall Street Hackers is next, because we're running out of time. Because you do know what time it is. I gotta watch so I can say that. It's time for you to step into your greatness. Get out there and make those connections, because
follow up.
Yeah, the world's waiting for you, and the fortune is in the follow-up. Thanks so much for being here, Shani. Thanks so much, everybody. Mark Lee, we appreciate you in the background. Thank you so much. Empowering You Show family. We'll talk to you next week.
Until next time.